Hello everybody, here we have an Apple II, and first of all, apologies for the reflections in the monitor. It's difficult to get away from where I am at the moment. Anyway, today we're going to talk about Turtle Graphics and BASIC, because both are things that I quite like. So way back in the 1960s, logo was invented, and with it came Turtle Graphics. I'm not sure if Turtle Graphics were there right at the start or whether they're a later addition, because graphics were pretty primitive in the 1960s and even in the early 70s. However, it came to pass, and one of the things that came to pass was logo running on the Apple II and several other computers in the late 70s and 80s. And anyway, I had a look at logo. I wasn't a big fan of logo, but I did like the Turtle Graphics, and so I thought, well, I can do that, as you do. And so back in the early 80s, I set about writing a Turtle Graphics interpreter in Applesoft BASIC. And now here we are in 2022. I thought I would resurrect it and have a look. So there's the Apple II. We're going to start from scratch. I'm just going to give you the full experience, boot up the Apple II. There's the disk drive going, and we're back into this. Let's run a little hello program. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, or just move the camera forward, so give you a better idea of what we are. So you have to excuse my typing, because the Apple II keyboard, although I use these things forever and a day, it's slightly different to a modern keyboard. So there we go, there's our thing starting up, and then we're ready. Gordon the Programmer Henderson, that's neat. That's what they called me. They called me Gordon the Programmer back then, because I was the only programmer in the department at university. So here we are. This is written in Applesoft BASIC, and we've got a little turtle, and this is Turtle Graphics. So if I go type in a wee command, move 100. Now the Apple screen is something like 280 by 160 pixels, which by today's standards is smaller than your thumbnail, smaller than your little pinky nail. It's nothing. So I can't remember why I did it. There must have been a good reason, but everything's multiplied by 10. So move 100, actually I've moved 10 pixels on the screen. Probably, my suspicion is because I didn't want to deal with inputting floating point numbers. This is always a basic program that's doing this. And you can see the delay between me pressing, or you can maybe hear me pressing enter. So if I press enter or return now, yeah, it takes a second to parse the thing and then process it and then draw the thing. And these are just some simple turtle graphics. If I just reset the whole thing, I can define a procedure to square. Let's give it one parameter, and we're now in a, it's not really an editor because you don't get a chance to correct your mistakes. Square, repeat 4 times, and move the distance, and turn 900, and end that, and we'll store it. So I can now go square 200, and then let it do its thing. You can see the blistering speed of my Turtle Graphics interpreter being run by Applesoft BASIC on a 1 MHz 6502, and there's a square. And I had lots of fun with this. So what would be next? Maybe is turn 450, square 200 again, and so on. And you can see the thickness of the pixels there. This is low resolution graphics, but in 1980 or 1978, when I first started playing with the Apple II, it was absolutely brilliant. Anyway, Turtle Graphics, I really got into Turtle Graphics as much as it could do back then. The limitations were basically what I could do in BASIC. Although at the time I had access to other computers, the BBC Micro was a lot faster. I could have used the BBC Micro, but I chose the Apple II because I kind of liked the Apple II. And so on. So let me just do that. We can see if I were to do a circle. We'll give it again. We'll give it one parameter. So the circle's going to have 12 sides. It's not a real circle, but otherwise we'd be around here all day. Move the same. Move %A. Turn. Doesn't like me pressing space because it makes parsing easier if you don't have any spaces. 300. We've got was 30 degrees. And store that. Circle. We've got to be careful we don't run off the screen here, but let's just see what happens if I do 100. Bing, ding, ding. Yay! Go little circle. It's not quite round, and I think that's the monitor. I don't think that's the program. It's the monitor's not quite round. There is an artifact in drawing lines on the Apple II, and the lines, it doesn't use today's sort of Brescingham line algorithm. It's you draw a line one way, draw it the other way, you get a different line. But that was then, and this is now. So if I were to go to circles, and then we can go no parameters actually. Yeah, look, we'll give it the length again. So let's draw 12 circles again, and what we want to do is circle same size that we're going to pass in. And then if we just go turn 300 again, and then end that, store that. If I now go circles 200, we should. This will take some time. I may actually fast forward it after we've drawn the first. Oh no. Well, maybe I'll get away with that. It doesn't do line clipping, because back then I didn't really. I knew how to do line clipping, but it was going to take, you know, an extra few seconds to actually do it. So I didn't implement any line clipping. And there are a little turtle at the end there. You may be able to see, sometimes it turns, sometimes it doesn't. That's using a facility that the Apple had called Shape Tables, which was actually vector graphics in a way. But when you rotate and scale vector graphics, things go a little bit weird because we don't really have the pixels to display it here. Anyway, I spent, might say wasted, hours on this back in the early 80s. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I'll let this complete. I'll probably fast forward it on the video. Then we'll have a look at the program, and we'll then move on to modern computer with a BASIC that I wrote, because I wrote my own BASIC, and when I wrote it, there's an interesting little pattern. Because this isn't proper circles, we're getting little sort of squares and diamonds, because they're actually 12-sided circles. Yeah, so I wrote my own BASIC about 12, 13 years ago. And one of the things that I said I was going to do in the BASIC was I'd make turtle graphics an integral part of the BASIC. That makes it fast. But we're running on modern computers anyway, so it's fast anyway. And there we go. So, there's our circles procedure, and there is a put a whole lot of stuff into it. So there's a whole set of variables. You can do very simple arithmetic with variables, but it's enough to do some simple things. And I think I may have a... Did I actually write a... Ah, there's a polygon program there. Anyway, let's have a look at load proc, list proc. So we've got 2 parameters and set variable C to be 3600, divide C by A, which is that's got to be a number of sides. Repeat number of sides and move the distance. So we should be able to, if I clear that, polygon, let me see, let's just have 6 sides and each one 200. Chug, chug, chug. There we go. And it's doing the right thing. It's calculated the angle to turn inside the of course, getting their starting angle right is the key thing there. Yeah, there we go. So there's our 5 sides. I'll leave it at that, and then we'll move over onto what I could do sort of 40 years later. And I'll see you in a bit. Okay, here we are. This is the Linux version of my RTB, Return to Basics, a basic interpreter that I wrote about sort of 12, 13 years ago, and tweaked it and adapted it over the past few years. And one of the things that I did with this was I built turtle graphics right into the basic interpreter. So I don't need to write a basic program to interpret my turtle graphics. And the result of this is that it's reasonably fast. A quick demo. Move 100 has done nothing. There we go. It's not turn because this one actually right 90. Move 100, right 90, move 100, right 90, move 100, and always try and leave ourselves facing the way that we started from. So it's there. Well, the one thing we don't have is a little picture of a turtle on the screen, because I never got around to doing that, and I didn't think it would add to the experience, especially when we're going to write programs to it. So as before, we'll write a little program, and this will be a basic program. I'm going to use the screen editor. Do it without line numbers. You can use line numbers if you want. Square, define procedure. We'll give it the same parameter as we did on the Apple version, so we'll give it the length parameter. Let me just have a look. Size. For I equals 1 to 4, cycle, move size, right 90, and proc, and we can go up here and we can do 200, and HGR reinitializes the graphics. It puts the turtle in the middle, clears the screen, a few other bits and pieces. Save it as square, traditional line numbery listy thing. I'll run it, and there's a square. Yeah, that's not too bad. Let's make it a little bit smaller. 100. We can run it from within the editor. Yeah, there we go. And as before, we can modify this. let's see if we do 8 squares. If I goes on to 8, cycle, do a square, left 45, repeat. Save that. There's our program and run it. Yeah, it's, you can see it's almost instant. It is. It really is almost instant. If I change our little update, the screen is actually double buffered, so update allows us to see what we're drawing. But even then, we're still going to be way fast because this thing will do 60, 70 frames a second. Oops, 0.05. Actually, let's make it 0.1, 10th of a second. And yeah, so we can see it. We can see it running, and that's great. And similarly with our circle. Now we did 12 sides before. Let's do the same again. To start off with anyway. Move size. Right, and it's 30 degrees. I forget this, my own BASIC has got cycle repeat as the loop boundaries. And start off with 100, see how we get there. It might be a bit too big. Proc not found. Why is that? Because I called it proc circ and not proc circle. Circle's a reserved word. We can actually draw circles directly in BASIC. That's a bit too big. 50, yeah. So it's not quite a circle, it's a 12-sided polygon. We could, because we've got high resolution, this is not a terribly high resolution at the moment. This is a 640 by 480 screen, but it's much higher than the 280 by 160 of the Apple II. Say we go 30 pieces, what's 30 into 360 is 12 degrees, I think, and this will need to come way down. Okay, maybe not quite that far, 15. Yeah, and we're now approximating a circle there. If I do a circle, I could work out the centre of that, but let's just say G width over 2, height over 2, 50 radius, open. Yeah, so there's a much smoother circle done using a proper circle drawing algorithm. But there's our circle. We could go back into the editor. Do our circle left by 30 degrees. Go back down. Just make this a little bit slower. Let's wait and run it. Yeah, there we go. Oh, and proc without proc. Excellent. What have I done? And we're now going to draw 12 circles, one after the other. Now this is actually quick enough that something that I just could not envisage ever doing on the Apple II was to do animations in Turtle Graphics. And so if I load a program, this program draws 4 spirals. And there's our 4 spirals, and then animates them. Now that it's animating them by clearing the screen and drawing the spirals a slightly different angle, and it's doing that. I'd have to work out, but probably about 50 frames a second, maybe more, maybe less. But there you go, it can do it so fast that we can do turtle graphics animations. And is that useful? I don't know. It's fun, amusing. But there you go, turtle graphics in BASIC. I thought I'd just give you a little taster of something that I quite enjoy doing. And I'll see you next time.